So I'm going to talk about something that is based on a very personal experience that I've had, but I think exemplifies a much larger concept that goes very deep. And I think it's something that can lead to a lot of peace, both for an artist and for someone who appreciates other people's art, or someone who is an observer of art in general. So I commonly get asked um, a lot of similar sounding questions by a lot of people that subscribe to me on YouTube. So I know there are many people that have watched the guitar videos that I've made that involve Metallica's music, whether it be arrangements of Metallica or medleys of their songs. I know there are many people that have these questions. And these questions are, why didn't you include my favorite Metallica song or this certain Metallica song in one of your medleys? Or when are you going to make another Metallica medley? Or will you do this other Metallica song like you did the other ones? And all those questions, they are only seeking unique answers. And the answers that they are seeking are, oh, I didn't use your favorite song in the Metallica medley because I'm using it in the next one. Here it is. Or, yes, I will be doing that song that you requested in an upcoming arrangement or video. Or, yes, I have another Metallica medley, and here it is. Not to mention that usually when I'm asked these questions, the answers already exist in content that's already there. However, the observer has failed to even look and see that there's a living, breathing, recorded example of their answer right there. All they have to do is look for it. But the literal questions I would have, or rather the literal answers I would have for these questions would be, I didn't put your favorite song in the Metallica medley because I didn't want it there. Or, no, I will not be doing your favorite Metallica song in an upcoming video. Or, no, I will not be doing another Metallica medley video. In fact, I will not be doing any more Metallica medleys. So those answers probably sound harsh and kind of mean and not very respectable of the people who are observing the art. So because of that, I don't give those answers. I tend just not to answer these questions because the actual answers, they require a lot of explanation, and they include places that you have to go mentally that I just think people who have to ask these questions are not ready to go. They don't want to go there. They're not going to be going there. So there's probably no need to talk about it. Yet, if you've clicked on this and you're listening to it, then you're at least interested in attempting to go there. I hope that you can, because I think it's representative of a much larger, much more important, much more impactful concept. And it is the concept of the life, or let's say the creation, the birth, the life, and the reception of a work of art. It seems to me that most people who observe art interpret it in a way as if it were made for them, as if it were only produced for them, and they were the only people to ever look at it or listen to it. Therefore, we feel justified by saying, I like this, or I don't like this, or this is good, or this is not good, or this should be this way, or no, it should be a little like this, or it should have included that. Or any kind of opinion or judgment that we make about a work of art. But what we don't realize in thinking this way is that our observation and all the things that come with it have absolutely nothing to do with the work of art. Absolutely nothing. Because this art that we are observing has already been created. Its creation has already happened. It has already been birthed. And as we are observing it, it is already living its life. Therefore, the observer has absolutely nothing to do with the art aside from their observations and the impact that the art has on them. But if we can realize that, then we might think, well, what about this whole process that happened before me then? What happened and what was vital so that this art was created so that I can observe it, so that it can have the impact on me that it has indeed had? And if you want to go down that road, then you start looking at the artist. Who created it? When they created it? Why they created it? And I'll get to this very specific example of me making a classical guitar arrangement of Metallica music. You know, as a musician, you play a lot of different kinds of music. It's a great thing. You can learn a lot of different things from doing that. And when I made this, any Metallica arrangement that I have made had a functional part in my journey as an artist. It satisfied a need that I felt was there. In particular, the first Metallica medley I ever made, I was right in the middle of doing a master's degree for classical guitar, studying a lot of classical music, and I would find myself, when I was doing guitar work, I would find myself sometimes getting distracted from the classical pieces that I was studying and practicing and playing these old Metallica riffs that I used to play when I was in high school. And that told me that that music is still very important to me. I also found that I could work on the same types of things on the guitar with these Metallica riffs. I could work on things like tempo, sound production, the cultivation of different types of strokes on the guitar. Same types of things that are very important general concepts in classical music as well. So, through my love of Metallica's music, through its persistence, its staying power that it had as I continued through my musical journey, and through me gravitating towards concepts that I felt were important and were beneficial, I ended up making the first Metallica Ballads medley. I recorded it. It felt like a wonderful break in some ways from the other music that I was working on, and it had served its purpose to accomplish all those things, to fulfill the need I had to play Metallica, to represent their great and amazing music in a little bit of a different way. That felt like a good need that I had that was satisfied. Because I love Metallica and their music, and I love the way it's written. I had to order the songs in the melody, in the medley appropriately. I couldn't just jam them in any type of order. One had to flow into the next. Sometimes the flow was kind of seamless because the key would be the same. It'd be a similar feel. You just go from one to the next with no real transition. Sometimes you would need to set it up with a key relationship, maybe a tonic dominant relationship or something like that. Maybe you have to add an extra note or two to get that point across. Or sometimes you might set up the entrance of the next piece in an interesting way, like a surprise, or like you were headed there. So when you arrive there, it feels very fulfilling and satisfactory. And now you can just hear the song that it kind of feels like you were meant to hear. So these are just some examples of the thought that went into constructing this medley. And the way I achieved this was I felt the order of the pieces had to make sense. Also, they had to all be heading somewhere inevitable and somewhere important. Something that I call an anchor, because it anchors the whole medley. It's not just a list of songs, one after the other. It's where's this list going? And what holds it all together? That's the anchor. And in that first medley, the anchor was Nothing Else Matters. Maybe the most iconic Metallica song. As soon as you hear the intro, you know exactly what song it is. It's one of those. So I just mapped those things out unconsciously. I've only realized these things after the fact, trying to answer questions that people ask me about it. These types of questions like, why didn't you include this song? Why did you include the songs that you did? Why didn't you include other songs? And the answer is that the process that I went through allowed me to achieve my artistic goals. That's why that medley was produced. That's why it was created. It was cultivated. It was given birth. And now it's living its artistic life. So the reason why I didn't include someone's favorite song in that medley was because it had no place. It had no purpose. And it would have diminished the purpose and the function that I was giving to the medley. It would have made it less effective in achieving the goals, satisfying the needs that it needed to. And this is purely dictated by the person that created the art. If someone else were to make a Metallica medley, they would be the one to decide if this helped the cause or if it hindered the cause. If they needed something like an anchor or something different. And the effect of the succession of pieces and how that would progress, how that would go. But since I was the artist, I was the one that created it, I was the person that dictated those things. I put all that together. So, to say, why isn't this song included in this piece of art is completely missing the point of the purpose of the art. And is completely making it exist only for one person's sole observations and interpretation of that art. It's just drawing a bunch of lines that don't exist. And it's not allowing for a lot of possibility that could exist. The thing about art is you never know what impact it's going to have on someone. You never know if and how it might change their life. If I'm looking at a piece of art and I'm thinking about what is not there, I'm not thinking about what is there. Therefore, I've completely nullified the fact. I've completely done away with the chance that this art could have an impact on me and the way that I think about and live my life. So that's why I say I feel that someone that asks this question is just, they don't want to hear the answer. It would come across as me, I guess, acting like they were stupid for asking that question. And that's not how I feel. But I do feel that if you have to ask that question, you're totally missing the point. And you will get more out of art if you realize it was not created for you. It does not exist because of you. There is a timeline of events, and where you enter the equation, at that point, it has absolutely nothing to do with the art itself. It is up to the artist to decide and weigh and choose these things, make the best decisions that they can in the moment that they're in. And then, if you respect the art, your respect will eventually carry over to the artist. You will realize that that person or those people, they're people like you. They will be moving on in their artistic journeys. By the time you have seen a piece of art that they have produced, they are no longer in that place. They are on to something else. And to make art and to make it dependent on getting positive reception or a lot of likes and views, really dependent on anything that's needed after its creation, is not healthy for the art and is not healthy for the artists. So for those of us that want to continue being artists, we don't function that way. We make sure the inner artistic wild animal that's inside of us is well fed. And by the time it produces its art, it does not need anything else to be healthy. It's got everything that it needs. It's not reliant on anything that comes while the art is living its life. So that also means that probably by the time someone has seen some of our art, we've moved on. We are not in the same place we were when we produced the art that is now being observed by someone else. We are in a new and different place. And what commonly happens is someone will ask you to revisit a place where you used to be because they want to discuss some art that you produced while you were in that place. So as the artist, all you do is you just weigh the effects. And you say, well, this is the place I was when I made the art. This is the place that I'm in now. Am I going to kind of pretend like I'm in that old place? Or am I going to be in the place that I'm in now? If I pretend I'm in the former place, then what kind of effects is that going to have? What are the benefits or what are the detriments to me if I do that? What are the benefits or the detriments if I stay in the place that I'm in now and look at it that way? What might be the effects on whoever I'm talking to or dealing with? And then you just make your decision. But the truth is, you are no longer in that place. So that answers the question of when will you be doing another Metallica arrangement? My answer is never. Um, I am not in the place where it fulfills needs that are important to me. I have moved on, and I am right in the middle of doing things that are important and that I need to do right now. Now, is there a chance that at some point I will do more Metallica music in the future because it satisfies a particular need or because it's a place that where I'm going to go on my journey in the future? Absolutely, there's a chance. I love Metallica. I still listen to their music. I think it's some of the greatest music I've ever heard. But that's the thing about accepting that you're on the journey is that you don't know where it's going to take you. And that is more important than trying to drive the train of the journey myself, which is impossible, to please someone who is an observer of the art that I'm going to produce. It just doesn't work that way. And the original art was produced in that same fashion. I didn't drive the train there. I was taken there. And when I arrived there, I chose to get as much benefit, as much advantage from that process as I possibly could. Then when it was finished, I said, okay, let's see where we're going to go next. So the same process that now says, no, I'm not going to be doing your favorite song in an upcoming video is the exact same process that produced the original video that you appreciated and that made you want another one just like it. So that's just a concept that works both ways. So I think the takeaway here is the change of perception and the realization that as an observer of art, we have nothing to do with the art itself. We only observe it after its creation. And its life comes from the life of its creator and the needs that needed to be fulfilled, the goals that needed to be met, and what the creator wanted to do with the art, which led to its birth, led to its life. And any observations that we have of it after that point, they only have to do with us. They have nothing to do with the actual piece of art itself.